Okay, so in the book of Revelation, there's this incredible vision of a global superpower that just collapses in a single hour. We're going to break down what that catastrophic moment is really meant to signify.
This one verse just sets such a dramatic stage. And that phrase, in 1 hour, get this, it's repeated 3 times in this chapter. That is not an accident. It's the key to unlocking this whole passage. It's telling us this judgment isn't a slow decline. No, this is instantaneous. It's absolute.
All right, so the source material paints this incredibly vivid picture. I want you to just imagine this for a second. You've got the biggest players in the global economy. We're talking merchants, ship captains, and they're all just standing offshore, completely helpless, forced to watch the very center of their world go up in flames.
And listen, this isn't just some quiet sadness. We're talking about a scene of absolute, gut-wrenching shock and despair. It's this huge, public, visceral reaction to seeing a system they believed was invincible, the source of all their wealth, just gone.
Okay, to really get a feel for the intensity here, we've got to look at the original Greek. The specific words the author uses are so powerful and so deliberate. It adds a whole other layer to this. So the word for their cry is ekrazone. And what's so fascinating here is the Greek tense it's in. It's in what's called the imperfect tense, which basically means this wasn't just a single shout. This was a continuous, gut-wrenching scream, this ongoing cry as they watched that smoke rise. And the fire itself, it's described with this really rare word, pyrosis. Now, this isn't just your average fire. The word implies a total, fiery annihilation. It's almost like a trial by fire, a final, all-consuming destruction. And this just perfectly captures the speed of it all. The word is eremothe, which means made desolate. And the way it's used here describes an action that is sudden and already complete. I mean, 1 minute the city is buzzing with life. The very next, it's completely empty, ruined.
So, a scene like this, a great city falling, it's not without precedent. In fact, the text itself deliberately points us back in time to a historical parallel. It's showing us that this is a recurring pattern of divine judgment.
So as the merchants are watching this destruction, they cry out in just stunned disbelief. They're saying, "What city is like this great city?" To them, Babylon was one of a kind, totally unparalleled in its power and splendor. But listen to this. That exact same cry, almost word for word, was uttered centuries before in the book of Ezekiel. You had merchants then lamenting the fall of another commercial powerhouse, the city of Tyre. That parallel is 100% intentional. And yeah, the laments are nearly identical, but here's the crucial difference the source material points out. Tyre, well, that was a purely commercial empire. But Babylon, no. Babylon was a religious commercial system. It was a corrupt mix of worldly wealth and a counterfeit religion that, as the text chillingly puts it, traded in the souls of men. This whole vision of smoke, it also has this really powerful historical echo. Think about 70 AD. When the Roman armies destroyed Jerusalem and its temple, real smoke, literal smoke, rose over that city. The source connects that physical event as a visible historical sign of the end of an old religious system. You see the pattern? And all this brings us right back to the most repeated, most significant phrase in this whole passage. We really need to understand why the text just hammers this point home again and again. 1 hour. So why this specific time frame? Is it literally 60 minutes? The argument here is no, it's not an accident. It's a direct, intentional, and deeply theological parallel to another incredibly famous hour in history. Think about it. Across the Gospels, what does Jesus repeatedly call his coming crucifixion? He calls it the hour. It was that single decisive moment that his entire purpose on earth was leading up to. The hour of judgment, the hour of darkness, yeah, but also the hour of glory. So here's the main takeaway, the crucial point. The source presents Babylon's 1 hour of desolation as this dark, twisted mirror image of the cross's 1 hour of decision. It's like the system that rejected and crucified the Messiah ends up receiving the very same emptiness it chose, and it happens in an equally sudden, equally decisive moment of judgment. Wow. Okay, so with that really powerful parallel in mind, let's look closer at the merchants' mourning. I mean, what does their grief actually tell us about them and about the system they served? Their reaction, casting dust on their heads, this was a classic, very public display of profound grief back then. It's a dramatic way of saying, my entire world, my very identity has just turned to dust and ashes. But the text is super specific about what they're grieving. The Greek word used is timiotes, and it means costliness, preciousness, luxury. They're not repenting, they're not sorry for their part in a corrupt system, nope. They are grieving the loss of their stuff, their wealth. And this really gets to the heart of it all, doesn't it? Their mourning is completely selfish. They're weeping for the economic engine that made them rich, not for the spiritual rebellion that brought the whole thing crashing down. So this whole explainer leaves us with a final, pretty provocative thought. You have this world of splendor and commerce. It seems totally invincible. And yet, it's all wiped out in an instant. It really forces all of us to ask, if that can happen, if a world of wealth can be made desolate in just 1 hour, what kind of riches, what kind of value truly endures?